Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. TGIF, it's Friday. What? Yes, right. What better day than Friday than to brag about yourself and think about all the great things that you did all week long and tell everybody about them. Well, that's what we're going to try to wire you to do today, is we're going to try to wire all of the wonderful women that are connected to the YW to learn how to promote yourself, learn how to tell everyone all the great things you're doing and to be very focused on them, and learn how to brand, personal brand, what that is. So with that, we know that this is a really important conversation. I'm teasing, but I'm not. This is actually, over the course of this week, I've been in about 4 different conversations or meetings where this specific issue has come up about how, we know how difficult this time of COVID has been for women, and women are actively seeking to get back into the workplace. And, it's really important to be able to speak to your strengths and, speak to what you have that you can build on, to be able to promote yourself, to land professionally and personally in every situation that you're in. But women are not necessarily wired to do that. We're wired to do the exact opposite. And so we are going to talk with you about that today with one of our absolute favorites, Sandra Bleckman, who is a senior project manager, employer outreach and partnerships, New Jersey Council of County Colleges. Get that all in?
You got it. I've never in my entire career had a short title, so they get longer as I go on.
Well, that's good. We hope we have as many zeros in your paycheck as you have words in your title, right? How's that?
I'll just try to record that again and send it to you.
Well, Sandra is a longtime friend of the YWCA. We have worked with her in so many capacities over the years, and she still continues to support us in our Next Chapter program, which has been something that we launched. We've always had programs to help women get back to work, and that's actually one of the first initiatives that Sandy and I worked together on, was helping women who were long-term unemployed get back into the workforce. But we've done a different shift. Last March, we started working on helping women that were either underemployed or unemployed because of COVID get into better employment situations for themselves and their families. And we've been very focused on that. And, together we've been, she's been working with so many women in our community through our Next Chapter program, which we're going to put a link here in the comments to. And that is a free program for anyone in our community. Again, any woman who has been unemployed or underemployed that is within our 5-county space and needs some support. You get access to the great team that Sandy and all that she's pulled together to be able to help you with your resumes, with your interview skills, coaching, to get you through an interview, and some amazing opportunities and conversations, professionals, resources that come together. But today, and we are going to specifically talk about personal branding a little bit. So, I have to say, whenever I see the term personal branding, I'm always like, what is that? But right, it's about being a good bragger.
Exactly. Really, that was like the first thing is, what is a personal brand, right? When we think about branding and logos and things of that nature, I always like to give one example. If you're driving down the road and you see the golden arches, there's no doubt in your mind where you're going, right? We all know it's McDonald's. Nike has their swoosh. That's their brand. So a personal brand is really your widely recognized perception. How do people view you, right? Based on your expertise, your competencies, your achievements within an industry, a community. So your personal brand is really, it's your story. It's telling your story. And it's really important because it can open up a lot of professional opportunities, especially for those who are not currently working or who are underemployed or looking to get more clients for your own company, even if it's in your own business. So a personal brand is not just if you're an entrepreneur, it's for anyone. And everyone should have their own personal brand.
So we know why we should care about it, because it totally represents everything about us out there. But so, I don't know that if you didn't even think that you had one, how are you building one? How are you putting one together to throw out there? Here's is the golden arches.
Everyone has to have their own golden arches, right? And I think that's the first part, is communicating your unique identity, right? Every one of us is unique in a certain way, and everyone's different, and we need to celebrate that fact, right? That's our own personal brand, right? It's telling your story. I read this, I was doing some research because I have done, and through the Next Chapter series, I did one on personal branding, and I will do another. So as a follow-up to this, for anyone who's interested, we'll be setting up a workshop. But it said an overwhelming 85% of hiring managers reported that a job candidate's personal brand influenced their hiring decisions, right? So that's kind of why it's important. It sounds hard, right? It sounds like, oh my God, it's another step. What do I do? But it's really not that difficult. I think the first part about what you should do to develop it is Google yourself, right? I tell people all the time, have you ever Googled yourself, Helen?
You know, I actually don't Google myself. I do the exact opposite. So I'm doing something wrong there. So tell me.
Well, I Googled you last night.
Yeah. You Googled me? Okay.
I Googled you because
what did you come up with?
when I think about you, I think about the YWCA that's what came up first was the YWCA, but also the next thing was that you're a professor at Montclair.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very prominent when I Googled you. So I think one of the first steps in building our personal brand is to see, first of all, what is the perception of me already online, right? What are people seeing if they Google me? Because 9 times out of 10, a hiring manager is going to look at your profiles. We'll talk about that in a moment, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, but also they're going to Google you, right? They want to see, what comes up about you? What can I find out about you without even asking you a question, right? So the first step really is to identify the question of who am I, right? Figure out who you are. That's the hardest question of the whole branding, right? Who am I? And what do I want to be known for, right? And those are the first 2 real steps. What motivates me? What is it that I want people to learn? Like when we see the golden arches, our McDonald's, what do we think about, right? They have changed over time, which your personal brand can change, right? McDonald's was typically always known for their burger and fries, but now they've moved into healthier options, right? So your personal brand can shift with your story, but I think the first part is really, who's your audience? What do you want to be known for, right? How do you want people to remember you by, right? People are looking at your LinkedIn profile. Recruiters are looking to see what they can find out before they even interview you. So that's really important. Those are some of the steps. And I think really networking, talking to other people. And one thing that's really important is writing out, what are my strengths and weaknesses, right? What makes me me? That's back to my unique identifying characters, because those really need to be incorporated in your personal brand.
So I think this is important. And I know we have Hollis is saying she's taking notes as we're talking right now, one of our viewers and one of our board members. But so I think let's stay with this for 1 minute. So Google yourself, look at all your platforms and see how you are being portrayed and see you're putting out there. So here's the question. If you see something you don't like in one of these areas, what do you do about it?
So it depends on what it is, right? That you see that you don't like. Sometimes, and that's why I tell people all the time, be very particular about your social media, your privacy policies, things of that nature. Sometimes people will tag you in a post that it may be something that it may be something that you don't agree with, or a view that you don't share. So just go through and either untag yourself or ask the person not to tag yourself, but really look at your profile and policies. LinkedIn should be different. LinkedIn, because it's more of a professional network. When you come up on LinkedIn, you need to make sure your LinkedIn profile is built out, that you have the proper things in there, that it's like portraying you in the way you want to. But some of the social media, for instance, Montclair, like you come up as a professor at Montclair. So that's something you would want to keep on your, when people look at you, right? And so you control the information that Montclair puts in about you. So I think it's a good thing just to do a deep dive into what people are seeing, identify if there are things that you have control over, making sure that all your privacy policies are, set properly, that no one can just tag you in something, because it does happen. And sometimes people tag people by accident, right? I ended up once many years ago on someone's picture, and it wasn't even a picture of me, but they put in SA, and then it came up with, me when it was someone else. So I think it's important to be sure of that as well.
Yeah. Hollis is having a little trouble hearing you, Sandy. So I think if you stay closer to your screen, we get a better. But that was great advice. And just to recap, in case any of it went in and out, what Sandy was saying is really check your privacy policy, your privacy settings on your social media to make sure that if someone does tag you, you get to approve it and make sure that you can see it's something you want to be connected to and affiliated with. And if you are connected to other areas and they're posting things about you, see what control you might have about the things that they're posting, to see that it's something that, again, you want to be connected to, and to keep your LinkedIn profile really professional. And I think I got it all right. Were those big?
Absolutely. And in addition with your online presence with LinkedIn, joining different organizations or groups, right, that show up, so that if you want to be identified that you're a favorite artist, right? So joining different groups, right, or tagging your profile, so that those are the things that people, your portfolio. So really just taking control over what you put out there as well.
Right. Okay, Sandy, I think we have to keep you close to the computer.
You'll just see my.
Yeah.
I have my AirPods in too, so I don't know. This laptop has a lot of issues with the microphone.
Yeah,
so.
it might be the AirPods, but it's definitely going in and out. But so in case anyone didn't hear that, what she said is think about the groups that you're affiliating with on platforms like LinkedIn, because they'll come up that you're connected with them too, and make sure that it's either something that you definitely want to be aligned with, or that you're staying away from things that you don't want to be aligned with professionally, because that will definitely happen when someone Googles you or someone like searches you in LinkedIn or in another platform, for sure. So let's talk about the phenomenon. And we were talking about this, actually, I was on a wonderful conversation this week that was done for Women's History Month with CINJ. And they had a great panel of women that were part of CINJ. And then they started out with the former Governor Christy Todd Whitman, who's someone that we had at the YW as well. And, she raised the phenomenon, which we actually were talking about the day before when you and I were chatting about our programs, that when it comes to confidence, right, and it comes to projecting yourself, historically, women do not step into that space so willingly. And that when it comes to positions and women are looking for jobs, they will only go to jobs that if they can't check every box that they match up their skills perfectly with it, they won't even, consider applying for it or reaching out for it. But, the research shows, and this isn't to, down men in any way, but the research shows that men will, check half those boxes and be like, yeah, I can do that. Or maybe check a quarter of the boxes and be like, oh yeah, I can apply for that job. We know that, women are also very much statistically and research shows will rise to an occasion as well. So how do we manage that women will not go for something if they don't check all the boxes, but we know that if they did, that they would rise to it if they were given the opportunity and were able to present why they could do it?
As you said, I've been in this space for a long time, and I've also been in the human resources space and working with women. When I ask them to tell me about themselves and their accomplishments, we all too often think about our family and our children, and we have a hard time talking about ourselves, right? And people say, I don't want to brag, I don't want to be boastful, but it's really not. It's getting to that point where if you're an expert in something or you're good at something, you need to be able to say that confidently, right? We need to be able to be confident, and it's not being boastful, it's just telling a fact. And I think the more we talk about it and talk about our strengths, we need to get to a place where we can talk confidently about ourselves. And as a hiring manager on the HR side, most people get hired because of their potential. They don't have to check all the boxes, right? And we need to remember that if we have, and I'm not saying if it requires a master's degree and you don't have a master's degree, that you should be saying, oh, well, it's okay, I can do that. But there are certain things where we hire based on the culture and the person's personality and abilities, as opposed to that they checked every single box.
Yeah.
And I think, I keep saying, going back to the unique part, right? we are all unique, right? I have a favorite quote, be yourself because everyone else is taken, right? So don't compare yourself to others. Be confident in what you can do because we all know. So I always say, have an elevator speech prepared. Write your strengths down. Write them down every day until you can say it confidently. Like, I'm an expert at spreadsheets, whatever it might be. But if you keep saying it, and then it comes out much more natural, right? Because we're not naturally built to say, I'm wonderful at this, right? That's not in our nature. So I think the more you practice and you are in the right circles with people that, you know, as you move forward, networking and things of that nature, you're able to more confidently speak about yourself.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and you know, obviously resonating with our viewers that, we're always so quick to lift other women up, but we're not always so quick to lift ourselves up. So I love what you just shared, and I just want to point it out again for everyone to make sure that, we make note that this is a great, I know we always try to make time to do a little exercise every day and, a little well-being, physical health, maybe a little meditation, but maybe we need to make time every day to write down our strengths. And like you said, not only write them down, but practice them. Create an elevator speech. Look in the mirror, say it to yourself, say it to a trusted friend, have them give you feedback how you can, tighten it up. But that this is a muscle, being able to really, talk about yourself confidently and highlight your strengths, and that it's something that you need to practice.
Look in the mirror, record yourself, right? And like you said, talk to someone who's a friend that can tell you, because I know I talk with my hands a lot, right? So when I do things like this, I have to sit with my hands folded. So things like that, right? So just knowing and smile and just be confident in the fact that and you are there and you can say, I did this. It could be, everyone's accomplishments are different, right? And so that's why I go back to don't compare yourself to anyone. So what I am excellent at, maybe that's not one of your achievements, but that doesn't mean we don't both have achievements to celebrate, right? And to your point too, we always want to lift other women up, but we need to lift ourselves up first because we are, it's you. I do believe the more you talk about it and the more you write it down every day, I think it's a great exercise. I do a gratitude journal every day, right? What I'm grateful for. And maybe add in, and these are my strengths, and this is why I'm awesome, right? One of the workshops that I went to through the YWCA, that I am remarkable through Google, which was amazing, right? Just thinking about what makes me remarkable.
Yes, yes. So that's everybody's homework assignment for the weekend. Watching, make sure that you take some time, sit, for a few minutes with a piece of paper and write down all of your strengths and think about them. And try to format them into a conversation and say it to yourself in the mirror about why you have so much to offer in whatever realm. And here's a question for you, Sandy, also, is that, very often, especially with women that are either out of the workforce or that women are doing a very specific type of work, but they're trying to broaden and get into something different. We know that women are involved in lots of other activities, okay? And they may not be professional activities, but they may be social activities or supportive activities for something that you're doing for your someone in your family, whether it's your children or, for seniors that you're taking care of, wherever it is. Look at the skills that you've developed there as well. Can you talk a little bit about that and a process that people can go through to do an inventory greater than just professionally so that they can broaden their brand?
Sure. And I think that's super important because a lot of women I work with is very similar. They were raising children for a few years, or they, they were taking care of a parent. And so they're like, I have nothing to put on my resume. And I said, absolutely not. You have so much to put on your resume because when you are doing those type of things, there are skills that are involved that translate into work skills, work-related professional skills, right? Running your children's schedule alone is a skill that we all need. Organizational skills, calendaring, things like that you can use in the workplace. So I think that if you write down, even some people that work within the school system, or my friend now who just became the manager of her daughter's soccer team, that requires so much work and so much dedication, but also the skills to the emailing, the organization, checking schedules. So I think at the same time, we need to sit down and look at what we've done. If there's an area, a gray area in your mind, say for instance, those 2 years where you were a stay-at-home mom, write down some of the things you did every day, and then you can easily translate them into professional skills. And I work with a lot of women on that, on their resume. And how do we get through that part? And I think nothing that we do, everything that we do is important, right? And everything can be translated into a professional skill.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. So you got that, folks. So not only are you writing all the great things, about yourself, but do an inventory of all of your skills, and the ones that you necessarily might not be thinking that you're, using professionally, but in other avenues and other places and spaces in your life. Do an inventory of the skills. Do an inventory of what you're doing. Then look at the skills needed to do that, and then work that into your brag.
Even volunteering. People say, "Oh, I just volunteer," or "I just," with my wherever. If you go to church or temple or those things, those are transferable skills. And so we really there's so many things that are transferable. So it's that taking the inventory. And I'm happy to help anyone that needs help inventorying those skills and translating them. So.
And again, that Sandy can do that for you through our Next Chapter program at the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. We have the link here in the comments. There is no charge for that. You have access to her. Just go in and register, and she will connect with you. She'll set up an independent appointment with you to talk about your, professional needs, and then she will, include you in the various activities. We have a closed Facebook group where we post jobs and we post tips and tricks for job seekers. So there's a tremendous network of support. And I have to say, because I am part of that group, not because I'm looking to leave the YW, but because I'm there to help, lift up other women as well. And, there's so much great information that gets put into that space. And I have had the opportunity to talk to some of the women that either have been able to get jobs through the program, or have utilized the services. And look, these are expensive services if you have to pay for them elsewhere. So take advantage of the YW's program at no charge. And Stephanie Kozlow, Stephanie, my fellow Fort Lee Bridgman of mine, she said terrific advice. Journaling is something that she just started doing again, and she loves the transferable skills. So thanks for sharing that, Stephanie. So let's talk. We've got a Next Chapter program coming in April, an exciting one at that too, that kind of was born out of the conversations that you were having with the women in the program. So tell us a little bit about it so people can mark their calendars and join us.
Sure. I'm very excited. It's on April 21st at 5 p.m. I've been working with the Small Business Development Center for quite some time, and Kathleen Cronin, who works with them, she's doing for us a Small Business 101 Grow and Glow, she calls it, series for women. And so really we were talking through the Next Chapter Facebook group about entrepreneurship, right? And we have a lot of women that are in transition and think that they want to go into their own business. How do they do that? Do they go all and jump in, 2 feet first, or do I do that while I'm still working? And so she's going to talk about, how to start and develop your ideas and meaningful connections. Are you ready to be an entrepreneur or not? Really go through the ABCs of what a healthy entrepreneurship is, talking about social media, working on a business plan template, which will be great for, for everyone. And what are your next steps? And so really it's great to talk about, because I think a lot of times we think about it, but we don't know if we're ready or what we should do, or how do we even do a business plan? I've had a lot of women ask me, what is it? How do I do a business plan? How do I know to how do I register my business? And so through the Small Business Development Center, Kathleen will give us all the answers. She's great, and I'm excited for her to do this workshop. Again, it's April 21st at 5 p.m.
Yep. So everyone have that. We'll put the link here in the comments so that you can register April 21st at 5 p.m. And I'm so glad that you are, bringing that conversation back up. That's a regular conversation we have at the YW, because we very often, we hear different things from women, but that they fall into the same space of either women that are, either in a corporate job or in a 9-to-5 regular position, but they have this idea and they want to figure out, what to do with it, or they want to transition out to something that's a little less structured so that they can work for themselves and at the same time, have the flexibility for some other, responsibilities in their life. And, this is a great way to get a primer. Again, there's no charge for these programs, but these are really top-notch trainers and resources that we bring in for you to, get to hear. So grateful that she's able to join us and present this and give this primer on things that you should consider and know. And not only that primer, but then through her, you'll have the resources to get more detail, and through the YW. And I want to make sure I share this right now. For any BIPOC women that are watching or BIPOC women that are in your life that are either already have started a small business or are considering it in some way, have an idea and are trying to figure out how to bring it to fruition, we are very excited to share that thanks to a grant with Coca-Cola, we have launched into a partnership with Eureka Biz program that is specifically for BIPOC women entrepreneurs to help them launch and stabilize and support their businesses through a significant amount of resources, access to this social media platform that is all geared towards promoting your business, access to professional coaches, mentors, an entire community of entrepreneurs. You'll have a local cohort here out of our YWCA Northern New Jersey group. You'll be linked into a national effort of a whole bunch of entrepreneurs. And these are all going to be fellow BIPOC women so that you have had the same experience. And we will be posting on our social media later today. I participated in a conversation yesterday with the Greater Newark Enterprise Corporation and got to meet on top of the woman that I interviewed yesterday for Share Now June. She organized this conversation, but there was a BIPOC, a Black woman business owner who had this idea and has been spending, 4.5, 5 years now trying to bring it to be. And it's a fabulous idea, but she talked at length about the challenges that she has experienced, and some of them specific to the fact that she's a Black woman, that she's I was so grateful that she, articulated them, in such a wonderful way that, it really is no question that we need to have programs like this Eureka program to be able to help and lift, BIPOC women into economic equality, because we know we'll never eliminate racism until we get to economic equality. And the YWCA is very committed to getting into that space. So we have the link here as well, not only to sign up for Next Chapter, we have the link for our April workshop that Sandra talked about, and we have the links here for the Eureka program for any BIPOC women entrepreneurs. So we do encourage you to go to these links, sign up, get involved, and we also encourage you to share this conversation with women in your life. This is any woman should be hearing this conversation. Paula said, and Stephanie has shared, and I know other viewers are watching and maybe not chiming in, but thinking, we need to get better at articulating our strengths. We need to get better at sharing our strengths, recognizing them, and promoting them. And these are some great tips that Sandy has had today to give us to do that. I also want to share one more important program that is along these lines, and Stephanie touched on it in terms of journaling. We have a weekly journaling program that we've started, and it's led by the very talented Rachel Brenner. We had such amazing feedback from this group, but it really is about finding your authentic voice through writing. And it's not, it's for you. It's an individual space and an individual opportunity. You can sign up for all the sessions. You can just drop into one, but you can visit our website, and through our website, you can, take a look and see which one speaks to you. But we feel very strongly that, again, if you can't tell your story, then you're never going to be able to sell yourself. You're never going to be able to advocate for yourself. It's so important to be able to embrace your voice, embrace your story, to be able to empower yourself. So stick with the YW, and we have lots more resources too for you, Stephanie. So we'll keep sharing them, as we all know, through YWTV. And grateful to our YWTV team that makes this happen weekly, because this is no small effort that goes in behind the scenes to bring you this Facebook Live show that we do a few days a week. So Sandy, as we're closing out, any last advice?
I think just
our viewers.
I love that you gave people homework, because I think that's great, right? To write down our strengths and practice. And I think just celebrate you, right? Every day, it could be something small. It could be, I made myself a cup of coffee this morning. I got out for a walk. Just celebrate you every day and make sure that, no one, and I always say, again, be yourself because everyone else is taken. Don't compare yourself to anyone, right? We all have our own struggles and strengths, and everyone's life is different, but every one of us is unique, and we all have something so special that we should celebrate, and let everyone else celebrate with us, right? Have a party about yourself, and everyone should be included in that, and we should be able to be confident and be able to just say, I'm wonderful, I'm great, I can do this, right? I mean, I'm proud of myself that I came here today to talk about this, right? That's my accomplishment of the day. I was on YWTV, so.
Well, I'm proud of you too, and I'm proud that we started our week talking about this, the two of us, and ended our week doing, sharing it with everybody else.
Absolutely.
That's for sure how we lift each other up. Hey, everyone, you have your homework.
Absolutely.
Think about your strengths. Think about, take an inventory of all you have to do. Put yourself together in terms of an elevator speech. Practice, whether it's in the mirror. Grab one of your kids' stuffed animals. Talk to your dog. It doesn't matter who and how, but practice bragging about yourself in the best possible way. And definitely think about some of the great skills we've talked about. I know Stephanie's even talking about that she got the artist's way. There's so many great resources out there. And, we encourage you to sign up for these workshops. Again, there's no charge for any of these. And, we will help lift each other together. So with that, everyone, have a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay well, take some time for yourself. Sandy, thanks for spending this time with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, you too. We'll see you all next week with plenty more YWTV for you. Yeah. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.